And Jim Hunter is back with us today to examine more movies featuring black actors and black themes, this time from the 80s and 90s because it's Black History Month, and this is an important topic to cover. And good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Angie. It's good to be here.
Well, it's good to have this conversation. We talked earlier in the month about black theme, black actors, and today you've chosen 2 or 3 movies from the 80s and 90s, and all excellent choices. So we'll begin with Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, so, last time we talked about sort of contemporary films and we're sort of working our way back in history, and this is like a big explosion of African-American cinema, and it's all around Do the Right Thing and the emergence of Spike Lee. Spike Lee directs, stars, and wrote Do the Right Thing. It co-stars Ossie Davis, Giancarlo Esposito, John Turturro, and of course Danny Aiello. This is a brilliant film because what it explores is race from multiple different angles. It explores race from an Italian American perspective, briefly an Asian American perspective, and of course the relationship between African Americans and the police. It's the most multivalent of all of Spike Lee's films, and so that's why I think that this is a landmark in African American cinema and a highlight, one of the best films of the 1980s. It's just one day in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, and it's the hottest day of the year, and that's all you need to know about the plot. It's also available on the Showtime streaming service right now.
So, Jim, does a movie like this become iconic because of what it is itself, but also what springs from it?
I think so. So this helped launch the career of Spike Lee, of course, but it was also, nobody was making movies like this before. Nobody was making movies with this sort of inventive camera work that Spike Lee continues into Malcolm X and into his other work, but also it's the real energy and the urgency behind this film that makes it so special.
Well, you mentioned Malcolm X, so we're going to talk about that with Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel Washington plays Malcolm X, and this is an epic 3-hour and 22-minute film that's available on HBO Go. This is a perfect companion piece to One Night in Miami, which is currently getting some awards buzz. This is the entire life of Malcolm X, growing up as sort of a small-time gangster to his, of course, his fame as a civil rights leader. It's a brilliant performance by Malcolm X, or by Denzel Washington as Malcolm X, and of course he was famously robbed in the 1992 Oscars by Al Pacino winning for Scent of a Woman that year.
Well, all right, then that leads us to one that got a bunch of buzz when it came out and still is a topic of conversation, which is Boys in the Hood.
It's not all Spike Lee in the 80s and 90s. This is John Singleton's film, Boys in the Hood. Once again, I was talking about films that had such energy behind them, and no one was making films like this about these people at that time. John Singleton focuses on a South Central Los Angeles and the relationship between African Americans and the police and African Americans and other sort of gangsters in that area. Cuba Gooding Jr., Lawrence Fishburne, and of course Ice Cube star in this film. It's a brilliant, vital film that is that marked a turning point in talking about the real lived experience of African Americans in inner cities.
Jim, thank you always for your insights and your work, and you will be back with us one more time in this Black History Month. All right. Jim Hunter, thank you very much. We'll be back with more Lifestyles after this. Stay with us.